He thought the worst part of this marriage was humiliation, until I saw the way he looked at me when another man touched me. It happened fast. So fast. He stepped outside the estate that afternoon, needing air, needing space that did not feel like his. That was when Daniel approached. "Emily, right?" he said with a warm smile. He blinked. "Yeah." Relief slipped in before I could stop it. "A normal conversation." "Finally." "I used to work with your mom's hospital," he added. My chest tightened. "She is going into surgery soon." "En nadie, softer now. If you need anything, let me know." "Kin. Genuine. Woman." He smiled back. "Thank you. That actually means a lot." His hand brushed mine. Light. Harmless. And then everything changed. Step away from her. The air snapped cold. He froze. Daniel stepped back instantly. He did not even need to turn. He felt him. Alexander. Watching. Controlling. Dangerous. He slowly faced him. His eyes were locked on my hand. "Not Daniel. My hand." "We were just talking," I said, forcing calm. He did not answer. He stepped closer. One step. Two. The distance collapsed. "You do not need to talk to him," he said, voice low and tight. He frowned. "I can talk to whoever I want." Silence. Then his jaw flexed. "Not when you are my wife." The words hit differently this time. Harder. Not just a rule. A claim. My heart stuttered. He crossed my arms. "You said this is just a contract." His gaze dropped to my lips for a split second. Then back to my eyes. "That does not mean I share." My breath caught. That was not part of the deal. That was something else. Something dangerous. And the way he looked at me right then made me realize one terrifying thing. He might not be the only one breaking the rules anymore. The worst part was not his jealousy. It was how fast he erased it like it never existed. The moment Daniel left, the tension stayed. Sick. Unspoken. He stood there, still trying to process what had just happened. "You said you do not shit," I said slowly, watching him. That did not sound like a contract. His expression changed instantly. Like a switch flipped. "Cold again. Controlled again." "You misunderstood," he replied, flat. My chest tightened. He did not misunderstand anything. He stepped past me like I was not even there. "Do not read into things that are not real, Emily." The words hit harder than Olivia ever could. Sharp. Personal. "So that was nothing." He pushed, anger rising now. He stopped. Just for a second. Then turned slightly. Not fully facing me. "It was control," he said. "Not emotion." Silence dropped between us. Heavy. Suffocating. He clenched my fists. "Right," I whispered. "Of course it was. Because that made sense. That was safer. That was the deal. But it did not feel like the truth. And that was the problem. That night, he did not come home. No message. No explanation. Just absence. He sat in that massive house alone, replaying every second. Every word. Every look. Trying to convince myself I imagined it. Trying to remind myself of the rules. No feelings. No attachment. No illusions. But the silence stretched. And the more it did, the more it felt like I was the only one left holding on to something that was never real. The next morning, I walked into the living room, and froze. Olivia was there again. Sitting comfortably. Like she belonged. And this time, she was holding a file with my name on it. He did not expect betrayal to come in the form of a neatly organized file with my name on it. Olivia tapped the folder lightly against her knee, smiling like she had already won. "Good morning, Emily," she said, too sweet, too calm. My stomach dropped. What is that? She tilted her head. Your life. Then she flipped it open. My breath caught. Medical bills. My mom's records. My debt. Everything exposed. You went through my private information. He snapped. She did not flinch. When a stranger suddenly becomes Mrs. Blake, people get curious. The room felt smaller. Colder. He clenched my fists. Close it. She ignored me. Of course she did. Desperate girl, she read aloud. Drowning in debt. Willing to sell herself into a marriage. Each word hit like a slap. My throat burned. Stop. She finally looked up, eyes sharp now. Do you think he does not know? Silence. My heart stuttered. That question landed harder than anything else. He needed a wife, she continued. You needed money. It is a perfect transaction. He forced my voice steady. That is exactly what it is. Allie. He could feel it twisting inside me. She smiled again. Slow. Cruel. Then let me ask you something. She closed the file and leaned forward. What happens when he no longer needs you? My breath hitched. He did not answer. Because I did not have one. The front door opened behind us. Footsteps. Mature. Familiar. My pulse spiked instantly. Alexander. Olivia did not even turn. Perfect timing, she said softly. He looked at him. I looked at the file. Then at me. No shock. No anger. Nothing. Just that same unreadable calm. And in that moment, something inside me sank. Because if he already knew everything, then I was not just his wife. He was exactly what Olivia said. A transaction. The question was, had I been the only one stupid enough to forget that? The silence between us felt louder than anything Olivia had said. Alexander did not ask a single question. Not about the file. Not about me. He just walked in, took the folder from her hand, and closed it. Calm. Control. Like none of it mattered. My chest tightened. You already knew, I said before I could stop myself. My voice sounded smaller than I wanted. He glanced at me briefly. Yes. One word. No hesitation. It hit harder than the truth itself. Olivia smiled, satisfied, like she had just proven her point. See, she said softly. Nothing here surprises him. He clenched my jaw. Then why didn't you say anything? He turned fully to him now. My heart was beating too fast. Too loud. He set the file down on the table. Because it changes nothing. My breath caught. Nothing? He repeated. I met my eyes this time. Steady. Cold. You needed money. He needed a wife. That is all. The words landed exactly where Olivia wanted them to. Sharp. Final. He felt it crack something inside me. Just enough to hurt. Not enough to show. Right, I said quietly. That is all. He looked away first. He had to. Because if I held his gaze any longer, I might actually believe there was nothing more. Olivia stood, satisfied. I will leave you two to your arrangement. Her heels clicked away, echoing through the room like a victory lap. The doors shut. Silence again. He stood there. Still. Trying to breathe normally. Trying to put the walls back up. Emily. His voice came from behind me. Lower now. Not as cold. He hated that I noticed. He did not turn. You should have told me, I said instead. My voice was steady this time. It paused. Just for a second. It was not necessary. There it was again. Distance. Control. He nodded slowly. Of course it wasn't. Because I was not necessary either. Just the contract. Just the deal. He walked past him without looking back. But even as I told myself I understood everything now, one thought would not leave me alone. If it really meant nothing, then why did it hurt this much? The moment I realized I was disposable was when I saw him choose her without hesitation. It happened that night. Another event. Another room full of people who did not want me there. I stood beside Alexander, silent, controlled, exactly like he trained me to be. Then Olivia walked in effortless. Perfect. Like she had never lost her place. My chest tightened instantly. She stopped in front of us, smiling like nothing had ever changed. Alexander, she said softly, then looked at me. Emily. I nodded. Barely. I did not move. Did not react. Then Olivia held out a glass of champagne. To old times. The room watched. Waiting. I felt it. The pressure. The expectation. I looked at him. Just once. Waiting for something. Anything. I took the glass. My breath caught. Slow. Painful. To old times, he said. Calm. Unforgettable. The words hit harder than any insult. Olivia's smile widened. Victory. I felt it crack through me. Sharp. Immediate. He turned away before anyone could see it. Before he could see it. He stepped out onto the balcony. Cold air. Sharp against my skin. He gripped the railing, forcing myself to breathe. You should not take it personally. Her voice again. Of course. Olivia stepped beside me, calm as ever. He does not do feelings, she continued. Not with me. Not with you. He did not look at her. Then why are you still here? She smiled. He could hear it. Because I know something you do not. My stomach dropped. What? She leaned closer. Just enough. He always goes back to what he trusts. Silence. Heavy. Final. He closed my eyes for a second. Because deep down, I already knew what she meant. And when I turned back toward the room, I saw him watching us. Not concerned. Not conflicted. Just calm. Like everything was exactly where it should be. And that was the moment it hit me. He might not be losing him. He might have never had him at all. He did not cry that night. But I packed my bag. Quiet. Fast. Like if I slowed down, I might change my mind. The room felt colder than usual. Empty in a way that had nothing to do with space. He folded the last of my clothes and zipped the bag shut. My hands were steady. My chest was not. This was always temporary, I whispered to myself. Saying it out loud made it easier. Almost believable. He reached for the door. Where are you going? His voice stopped me. Low. Controlled. Todo familiar. He froze for half a second, then turned. Alexander stood there, still in his suit, like he had just stepped out of that same perfect world I never fit into. I am leaving, I said. Simple. Clear. No hesitation. His expression did not change. No, you are not. The words landed like a command. Not a question. Not a request. He felt something snap. You do not get to decide that. My grip tightened on the handle of my bag. I stepped closer. Slow. Mature. The contract is still active. Of course. The contract. Always a contract. He let out a hollow laugh. So that is all this is to you. My voice cracked just enough to betray me. His gaze flickered. Just for a second. Then it hardened again. That is what it has always been. Silence hit hard. Final. He nodded slowly. Then you will not mind if I stop pretending. He moved to walk past him. I caught my arm. Firm. Not rough. But impossible to ignore. My breath caught instantly. You are not walking out over something meaningless, he said. My heart pounded. It is not meaningless to me, I whispered. That was the truth. The one thing I could not take back. His grip tightened just slightly. Then that is your mistake. The words cut deeper than anything Olivia ever said. He pulled my arm free. Distime, he let me. He walked. To the door again. My hand on the handle. One step away from ending everything. But something stopped me. Not him. Not the contract. De question. If I walk out now, why does it feel like I am the only one losing? He should have walked out. But he did not let me. My hand was still on the door when it slammed shut behind me. Not by me. By him. The sound echoed through the room, sharp and final. My heart jumped. He turned fast. Do not, I warned, my voice shaking just enough to betray me. He stood between me and the exit now. Close. So close. You are not leaving, Alexander said. Not loud. Not angry. Worse. Certain. He swallowed hard. You said this was just a contract, I shot back. So stop acting like I owe you more than that. His jaw tightened. Just a flick. Tengan. You owe me what you signed for. The words hit. Hard. Cold. He felt anger rise. Fast. And what exactly did I sign for? He stepped closer this time. He needed to see it. To hear it. To be controlled? To be humiliated? To stand there while you choose her in front of everyone. Silence trapped. Heavy. His eyes darkened. That was it. He hit something. You are my wife, he said. Low. Dangerous. The words landed differently now. Not a label. A claim. My breath caught. On paper, I pushed. My voice softer now. Sharper. Only on paper. It moved before I could react. One step. Then another. Biking me into the door. My pulse spiked. It stopped inches away. Close enough that I could feel his breath. Then why are you still here? He asked quietly. The question hit deeper than anything else. He froze. Because I did not have an answer. Not one I could say out loud. My silence gave me away. He saw it in his eyes. That shift. Subtle. Dangerous. It leaned in just enough for his voice to drop. You are not leaving because you do not want to, he said. You just do not want to admit why. He shook my head instantly. That is not true. I lied. We both heard it. He stepped back slowly. Control restored. Distance restored. But the damage was done. Stay, he said, calm again. Like nothing happened. Like everything changed. And the worst part. He did not walk out. Because deep down, I was starting to realize I might not be trapped there by the contract. He might be trapped by something else entirely. He told myself it was still just a deal. But my heart was already breaking the rules. The next morning, I avoided him. Simple. Necessary. He stayed in my room longer than usual, then moved through the house like a guest, not a wife. Distance felt safer. You are avoiding me. His voice stopped me mid-step in the hallway. Of course he noticed. He turned slowly. No, I said, too quickly. He watched me. Calm. Sharp. You are. My chest tightened. He crossed my arms. Maybe I just learned my place. The words came out colder than I felt. He did not react. Not immediately. Then he stepped closer. One step. Then another. And what place is that? He asked. Quiet. Dangerous. He forced myself not to move back. The one where I do not expect anything from you. Silence. Heavy. His gaze held mine longer than usual. Tolón. He felt it. That pull again. Good, he said finally. Flat. The word hit harder than it should have. Something inside me twisted. He looked away first. Again. That is what you wanted, right? He added, trying to regain control. I did not answer. And somehow, that was worse. Later that day, I found myself in the garden. Alone. Finally breathing again. Or trying to. You should not let him get to you. He turned. Daniel. Of course. Safe. Normal. My shoulders dropped slightly. I am not, I said. Ali. I smiled gently. You do not look fine. He let out a small breath. I am learning. I nodded, stepping closer. Not too close. Just enough. You deserve better than being treated like that, he said softly. My chest tightened again. Not from pressure. From something warmer. Thank you, I said. And for a moment, it felt easy. Simple. Real. Then the air shifted. He felt it before I saw him. That same cold presence. That same control. He turned slowly. Alexander stood at the edge of the garden. Watching. Silent. But this time, there was no confusion in his eyes. No restraint. Used something darker. Sharper. And the way his gaze locked onto Daniel made one thing painfully clear. This was not over. Not even close. The moment he looked at Daniel like that, I knew something was about to break. The air turned sharp. Heavy. Alexander walked toward us, slow, controlled, but every step felt like a warning. Daniel straightened beside me. Is there a problem? He asked, calm but firm. Alexander did not even look at him at first. His eyes stayed on me. Lack. Intense. Yes, he said finally. One word. Cold. Then his gaze shifted. Direct. Cutting. You are talking to my wife. The word hit harder than it should have. Daniel frowned slightly. We were just having a conversation. Alexander stepped closer. So close. The space tightened instantly. That conversation is over. My chest tightened. Alexander, stop, I said quickly. You are overreacting. His head turned toward me slowly. Ami. The way he said it made my pulse jump. Not loud. Not angry. Worse. Controlled. Dangerous. I forced myself to hold his gaze. This is exactly what we agreed not to do, I said. No control. No interference. Silence trapped. For a second, I thought he might actually step back. Then he reached for my wrist. Firm. Not rough. But absolute. We agreed on many things, he said quietly. This is not one of them. My breath caught. Daniel took a step forward. You are making her uncomfortable. That did it. Alexander's eyes darkened instantly. Sharp. Final. Leave, he said. No hesitation. No room for argument. Daniel hesitated, then looked at me. He gave a small nod. He had to. This was not his fight. Not really. I left. Just like that. And the moment he did, the tension snapped back to me. Alone with him. Again. He pulled my wrist free. You had no right, I said, my voice shaking now. His jaw tightened. I have every right. The words landed heavy. My heart pounded. Why? He pushed. Because I signed a piece of paper. I stepped closer again. Closing the distance. Because you are mine. The sentence hit like a shock. Not a contract. Not a rule. A claim. And the worst part was not how wrong it sounded. It was how much it felt like the truth. The moment he said you are mine, something inside me stopped pretending this was just a deal. My breath caught, sharp and uneven. He stared at him, trying to find the line between control and something else. Do not say that, I said, my voice low but shaking. It did not step back. Did not soften. It is the truth. The words hit harder this time. Not like a rule. Like a decision. He shook my head, forcing space between us. No. That is exactly what this is not. My chest tightened. You do not get to claim me when it is convenient and ignore me when it is not. Silence trapped. Heavy. His jaw flexed. He saw it. That crack. Is small, but real. You think that is what I am doing? He asked. Quiet. Dangerous. He let out a breath that felt like it had been building for days. You stood there and chose her, I said. In front of everyone. My voice broke just enough to betray me. His eyes darkened. That is not what happened. He laughed. Bitter. Sharp. Then what did happen? He pushed. Because from where I was standing, I was invisible. The word lingered. It took a step closer. Slower this time. Les control. You are not invisible, he said. Something in his voice shifted. Not cold. Not distant. Something else. He hated how it affected me. Then stop treating me like I am, I shot back. My heart pounded. Loud. Unsteady. For a second, neither of us moved. The air between us felt different. Thinner. Fragile. Then his hand lifted. Hesitated. Just inches from my face. Like he was about to do something he had never done before. Something real. My breath caught. Everything slowed. And right before he could touch me, his phone rang. Sharp. Loud. Breaking everything. I froze. Just for a second. Then stepped back. Distance restored. Control back in place. I answered without looking at me. Yes. His voice was cold again. Like nothing had happened. He stood there. Heart still racing. Skin still burning. And the worst part was not the interruption. It was the realization. For 1 second, he almost forgot the rules. And I almost did too. For 1 second, I thought he was going to cross the line. Then he walked away like it meant nothing. The sound of his voice on the phone cut through everything. Cold. Distant. Like the man standing in front of me seconds earlier never existed. He stood there, frozen, my heart still racing from something that never even happened. When he hung up, I did not move. Neither did he. Silence stretched between us. Heavy. Fragile. You should rest, he said finally, not looking at me. Just like that. Back to normal. Like we did not almost break the rules. My chest tightened. That is it? He asked. My voice came out sharper than I expected. He glanced at me briefly. What else would there be? The question hit harder than it should have. He stepped closer before I could stop myself. You were about to say something, I pushed. My pulse spiked again. He needed to hear it. Needed to know I did not imagine it. His gaze held mine for a second. Then it shifted. Closed off. You misunderstood, he said. Flat. Final. The words felt familiar. Todo familiar. He let out a small laugh. Hello. Right. He keep doing that. He turned away before he could see anything else. Before I could lose whatever control I had left. Emily. My name stopped me again. Softer this time. He hated that it affected me. He did not turn. Do not make this more than it is. There it was. The line. The wall. The rule. He nodded slowly, even though he could not see it. I will not, I said quietly. Because that was easier. Safir. Even if it was a lie. He walked away this time. Not waiting for him to stop me. Not waiting for anything. But as I reached the hallway, one thought kept repeating in my head. If it really meant nothing, then why did he almost say it? And why did I want to hear it so badly? He did not realize how badly I wanted him to choose me until I saw proof that he never would. It started with a message. Not meant for me. He saw his phone light up on the table. Olivia's name. My chest tightened instantly. He should have walked away. He did not. The screen lit just enough for me to read it. Tonight. Same place. Do not keep me waiting again. My breath caught. Again. The word echoed louder than anything else. My hands went cold. He stared at the message longer than I should have. Longer than I wanted to. Then I heard his footsteps. He stepped back immediately, like I had been burned. I walked in, peeked up his phone, glanced at the screen. No reaction. No explanation. Nothing. My chest tightened. You are meeting her again? He asked before I could stop myself. He looked at me. Calm. Unreadable. Yes. One word. No hesitation. It hit like confirmation. Final. And you were not going to tell me. My voice came out sharper now. He slipped his phone into his pocket. I do not need to. Silence dropped hard. He felt it break something inside me. Right, I said slowly. Because this is just a contract. He did not answer. That was the answer. I let out a small, bitter laugh. Then why do you act like I belong to you? Why do you get to control who I talk to, but you can go back to her whenever you want? His jaw tightened slightly. Just enough. Do not confuse boundaries with control, he said. Cold. My heart pounded. And what do you call this? He shot back. Convenience. That landed. He saw it. De flique. Gone too fast. You are overthinking, he replied. Flat. Dismissive. That was it. The final cut. He nodded slowly. No, I said quietly. I am finally understanding. He turned away before he could stop me this time. Because now it was clear. Painfully clear. He was never the one he would choose. The contract was real. The marriage was not. And the worst part was realizing I had been the only one foolish enough to believe it could become something more. He thought leaving would feel like freedom. But it felt like ripping something out of my chest. He did not pack this time. He did not hesitate. He just walked. Straight through the front door. No goodbye. No explanation. Because if I stayed 1 second longer, I would break in front of him. The air outside hit hard. Cold. Real. He kept moving. Step after step, like if I stopped, I might turn back. Emily. His voice came from behind me. Of course it did. He closed my eyes for half a second. Then kept walking. Do not do this, he said, closer now. Faster. He stopped. Slowly. Turn it. My heart was already racing. It stood a few feet away. Not calm this time. Not fully in control. I am not doing anything, I said quietly. I am just leaving. His jaw tightened. You are overreacting. The words hit like a slap. He left. Sort. Empty. No, I said, shaking my head. I finally reacted the way I should have from the beginning. Silence trapped. Heavy. I stepped closer. It was not what you think. There it was. Tolate. He met his eyes. Then tell me what it was, I said. My voice broke this time. He did not hide it. Not anymore. Because from where I was standing, you chose her. I stopped. Just for a second. And that hesitation was the answer. My chest tightened painfully. He nodded slowly. That is what I thought. He turned again. Distime, I did not stop. His voice did not follow. His hand did not reach for me. Nothing. Just silence behind me. And somehow, that hurt the most. Because if I really mattered, he would have stopped me. He would have said something. Done something. But he did not. And as I walked away from the only man I was never supposed to love, one question kept echoing in my mind. If he never wanted me to leave, why did he let me go so easily? He told myself I would not look back. But the silence he left behind followed me anyway. The city felt different without him. Smaller. Colder. He stood outside a cheap apartment building, keys shaking in my hand. This was real now. No mansión. No protección. No him. He unlocked the door and stepped inside. Empty. Quiet. Mine. He dropped my bag on the floor and exhaled slowly. You wanted this, I whispered to myself. Freedom. Space. No more confusion. No more him. But the silence pressed in too fast. Too heavy. He walked to the window, staring out at the streetlights below, trying to breathe through the ache in my chest. It did not go away. It only got louder. My phone buzzed. He froze instantly. One message. Unknown number. My heart skipped anyway. He opened it. Jewel left. My breath caught. No name. No explanation. But I knew. Of course I knew. My fingers tightened around the phone. He should not respond. He should not even care. But my chest betrayed me. You let me, I typed back. The reply came almost instantly. You did not give me a reason to stop you. The words hit harder than anything before. My throat tightened. He should not have to, I typed back. My hands were shaking now. This was a mistake. He knew it. His answer came slower this time. One line. You never told me you wanted me to. Silence followed. Sick. Suffocating. My heart pounded painfully. Because that was not true. He knew. He had to know. Or maybe he did not. Maybe I had been waiting for something I never said out loud. He stared at the screen, my chest rising and falling too fast. And for the first time since I walked away, doubt crept in, not about him. About me. Because if he really did not know, then what exactly had I just walked away from? His last message did not leave my head. It rewired everything I thought I knew. He stared at my phone long after the screen went dark. You never told me you wanted me to. The words kept repeating. Louder each time. My chest tightened. Because maybe he was right. Maybe I had been waiting for him to read something I never said out loud. He exhaled slowly and set the phone down. No, I whispered. Do not do this. Do not go back. Do not question it. This was supposed to be the clean break. But it did not feel clean. It felt unfinished. The next morning, I forced myself into routine. Coffee. Emails. Job applications. Anything to keep my mind from drifting back to him. It worked. For a while. Until there was a knock on the door. Sharp. Unexpected. My heart jumped instantly. He froze mid-step. No one knew I was here. No one except. He swallowed hard and walked to the door. Slowly. Carefully. He opened it just enough to see. And my breath caught. Not him. Worse. A man in a suit stood there, holding a tablet. Professional. Detached. Miss Carter, he asked. He nodded, confused. I am here on behalf of Mr. Blake. My chest tightened instantly. Of course. Of course he would not come himself. He has sent over the final settlement documents. The words hit like a cold wave. Final. Settlement. Like this was business. Like this was easy. The man held out the tablet. You just need to sign here, and the transfer will be completed immediately. My fingers curled at my sides. This was it. The end of the contract. Plan. Simple. Exactly what I wanted. So why did it feel like I was about to sign something else away too? He stared at the screen. At my name. Waiting. And the one question I could not ignore anymore was this. Was this really what I wanted? Or just what I thought I deserved? He thought signing that document would set me free. But it felt like I was cutting off the last piece of something I was not ready to lose. The pen hovered over the screen longer than it should have. My name stared back at me. Final. Plan. Donne. Miss Carter, the man prompted gently. He swallowed hard. Just, give me a second. My voice came out quieter than I wanted. My chest tightened. This was what I needed. Independence. Control. No more confusion. No more him. So why did my hand refuse to move? He exhaled slowly and signed. Just like that. The screen blinked. Completed. The funds will be transferred within the hour, he said professionally. He nodded. Did not trust myself to speak. The door closed behind him. And just like that, it was over. He stood there alone. Phone in one hand. Silence filling the room again. But this time, it felt different. Not heavy. Not suffocating. Just empty. The money came through fast. More than I had ever seen in my life. Enough to fix everything. My mom's treatment. My future. My stability. He should have felt relieved. He should have felt grateful. Instead, I felt nothing. He dropped my phone on the table and walked to the window again. Same view. Same streetlights. Different reality. This is what you wanted, I told myself. My reflection stared back at me. Stronger. Independent. Alone. Days passed. 10 weeks. He built a routine. A new life. A version of me that did not need him. Or at least, that was the story I told myself. Until one night, everything cracked again. He stepped into a small event. Casual. Safe. Or so I thought. Then I heard his name. Did you hear? Black Enterprises is making a major move. My body went still instantly. My heart followed a second later. Alexander Blake just shut down 3 major partnerships overnight, someone added. No explanation. No warning. Just cut everything off. My chest tightened. That was not business. That was personal. He did not turn. He did not move. But one thought hit. Harder than anything else. What exactly had he lost when I walked away? He did not mean to go looking for him. But the moment I heard his name, my body moved before my pride could stop it. He left the event too fast. Though obvious. Cold night air hit my face, but it did nothing to calm the sudden chaos in my chest. Shut down 3 major partnerships. No warning. No explanation. That was not the Alexander Blake I knew. Or maybe it was exactly him when something mattered too much. Emily. He turned. Daniel stood a few feet away, surprised to see me. Safe. Familiar. He forced a small smile. Hey. He studied my face for half a second. Todo perceptive. You look like you just saw a ghost. My throat tightened. Not a ghost, I said quietly. Just a name I was not ready to hear. He nodded like he understood more than I said. Come on, he offered gently. I will walk you to your car. He should have said no, I did not. The parking garage was quieter than the street. So quiet. My heels echoed against the concrete as Daniel talked about something normal, something easy, and I tried to listen. He really did. Then I saw the black town car at the far end of the row. My steps stopped instantly. My breath caught so hard it hurt. Even from a distance, I knew it. Him. Or at least something that belonged to him. Daniel followed my gaze. Emily. He barely heard him. The driver's side door opened. My pulse slammed. A tall figure stepped out, one hand on the roof of the car, head turned slightly away. Broad shoulders. Dark coat. Him. It had to be him. Every part of me went still. One more step and he would see me. One more second and I would have to decide whether to run or stay. Then Daniel touched my elbow lightly. Your car is this way. The motion broke the moment. He looked back. Used for 1 second. When I turned again, the space by the car was empty. Gone. Like I had imagined the whole thing. But I had not. Because on the concrete where he had stood, there was only one thing left behind. A single white envelope with my name on it. He stared at the envelope like it. Cold ruined me all over again. My name was written across the front in his sharp, clean handwriting. No note. No explanation. Just Emily. My chest tightened so hard I could barely breathe. Daniel looked at me, concerned. Do you want me to stay? He asked softly. He shook my head too fast. No, I am fine. Allie. Obvious. But he let it go. Call me if you need anything, he said, then walked away. The second he was gone, I tore the envelope open. Inside there was a flash drive. Nothing else. No letter. No apology. My pulse pounded in my throat. He got into my car, shut the door, and stared at the tiny piece of metal in my palm like it held a loaded weapon. Then minutes later, I was in my apartment with my laptop open and my hands shaking. He clicked the first file. Video. Security footage. Olivia. My stomach dropped instantly. It was the hotel lobby from the night of that message. She walked in first. Alone. Calm. Then a second frame showed Alexander arriving later, jaw tight, expression cold. Not eager. Not secretive. Furious. He leaned closer, barely breathing. There was no romance. No reunion. No old times. Just Olivia handing him a folder while he stood there like he wanted the whole meeting over. The next file opened. Audio. Her voice came through clearly. I sent the message from your old thread. She saw it. She was supposed to. My blood ran cold. Then his voice. Sharp. Dangerous. You used my phone. Olivia laughed softly. I used your silence. There is a difference. Silence. Then him again, colder than I had ever heard. You are done, Olivia. My chest caved in on itself. He sat back slowly, every heartbeat turning into regret. He had not walked away from betrayal. He had walked away from a lie. And the worst part was not that she manipulated me. It was that he had tried to end it, and I never gave him the chance to explain. My phone lit up on the table. Unknown number. One message. Now you know the truth. The question is, what are you going to do with it? The truth changed everything. Except the damage he had already done to me. He did not sleep. He could not. By morning, my chest felt hollowed out by regret and anger. In equal measure. Olivia lived. I had not chosen her. I had tried to end it. He knew that now. But knowing the truth did not erase what it felt like when he stood there and let me walk away. My phone buzzed at 8:12 de la mañana. One message. Lobby. 10 minutes. No name. No greeting. No apology. My pulse jumped anyway. Of course it was him. Of course he still sounded like command and control. He should have ignored it. He did not. 10 minutes later, I stepped into the lobby of my building and stopped cold. Alexander stood by the window in a dark coat, hands in his pockets, looking like he had not slept either. The second he saw me, Something in his face tightened. Relief. Tensión. Maybe both. You got the drive, he said. Straight to it. Of course. He crossed my arms. You could have just told me. His jaw flexed. You did not give me the chance. The words landed hard because they were true. He hated that. I gave you plenty of chances, I shot back. You just kept choosing silence. It took one step closer. I was trying to protect you. He laughed once. Sarp. Disbelieving. By making me feel disposable. His gaze locked on mine. That was never what you were. My chest tightened. Dankiro's words. Toolati. Maybe not to you, I said quietly. But that is exactly what you made me feel. Silence stretched between us. Heavy. Real. It moved closer again, slower now. Less command. More risk. Emily, he said, and my name sounded different in his mouth this time. Tair. Anist. Come back. My breath caught. There it was. The thing I had wanted before. The thing that should have fixed everything. But it did not. Because wanting him back was not the same as trusting him again. He shook my head slowly. No, the word hurt coming out. He saw it hit him. Good. Maybe you needed to feel some of this too. You do not get me back just because the truth finally showed up, I said. Not when I had to break first. He turned before he could answer. But his voice followed me anyway. Low. Certain. Then I will earn it. And somehow, that scared me more than if he had let me go. He said he would earn me back. And for the first time, he actually acted like he meant it. He expected flowers. Grand gestures. Extensive apologies designed to solve everything with money. That was his language. Control. Access. Power. Instead, the next morning, my phone buzzed with a hospital update. My mom's treatment had been fully extended. Quietly. No press. No conditions. My chest tightened instantly. He called the billing office, already bracing myself. Yes, Miss Carter, the woman said warmly. Mr. Blake asked that all decisions remain in your name. He made it clear this was not to influence you. He went still. Not to influence me. That was new. Dankiros in a different way. By noon, there was another message. Note from him. From the leasing office. My apartment building had a plumbing failure on the 4th floor, but somehow my unit had already been moved to a better one. Same rent. Better security. Again, no strings. He stared at the email, pulse uneven. This was still him. Of course it was. But it did not feel like a trap. It felt like protection without the demand to be thanked for it. That scared me more. That evening, I found him outside my building. No car. No driver. Just Alexander in a dark coat, standing under a streetlight like a man stripped of every advantage except honesty. My heart stumbled the second I saw him. Did you do all this? He asked. He looked tired. More human than I had ever seen him. Yes. No denial. No performance. He crossed my arms. Why? His gas held me. Steady. Un shielded. Because when you were with me, I made everything harder than it needed to be. The words landed softly. Which somehow hurt more. This does not fix it, I said, but my voice had lost some of its edge. He nodded once. I know. Then he added, quieter, I am not trying to fix it in one night, Emily. I am trying to stop failing you in the same ways. Silence stretched between us. Cold air. Streetlight. My heart doing things I did not approve of. I should have walked away. Instead, I stayed there a second too long. Long enough for him to notice. Long enough for me to realize the worst truth of all. A part of me was already starting to believe him. The moment I started believing him again, Olivia. Mother sure I paid for it. It started with a text. Unknown number. If you care about your mother, come to St. Mary's now. My blood ran cold. I did not think. I moved. Fast. By the time I reached the hospital, my pulse was out of control. I pushed through the front doors, scanning for danger, for nurses, for anything wrong. Then I saw her. Olivia. Perfect coat. Perfect smile. Standing in the middle of the lobby like she belonged there. My whole body went tight. What did you do? I snapped, already moving toward her. She tilted her head, calm as ever. Nothing yet, she said softly. But that depends on you. Right hit first. Then fair. Sharp. Immediate. Do not play games with my mother. Her smile thinned. Then stop making me repeat myself. She held up her phone. One tap. My stomach dropped. A draft article filled the screen. My name. Alexander's name. Contract wife. Bad arrangement. Family medical debt. Every private piece of my life turned into a headline. You leaked that, I said, my voice shaking now, and I will fight you. She stepped closer. You will lose. Her eyes hardened. Walk away from him. Publicly. Today. Or this goes live, and your mother gets dragged into every story by sunset. The floor felt unstable under me. Sham. Fear. Fury. All at once. You are insane, I whispered. She leaned in just enough for her voice to cut. No, I am the consequence of you forgetting your place. Then another voice hit the air behind us. Cold. Precise. Dangerous. And you are the consequence of underestimating mine. He turned so fast my breath caught. Alexander stood at the entrance, shoulders tense, eyes locked on Olivia like he had already made up his mind about something. Relief hit me first. Then terror. Because one look at his face told me this was not contained anymore. Olivia smiled without turning around. Perfect, she said lightly. Now we can do this in front of everyone. Reporters were gathering outside the glass doors. Phones were already up. Recording. Waiting. And Olivia lifted her chin, looked straight at Alexander, and delivered the final threat. Choose carefully. Because if you choose her in public, you lose everything. The room went silent. The second Olivia forced him to choose. And for one terrifying second, I thought he might hesitate. Reporters pressed against the glass outside. Phones lifted. Faces turned. Waiting. Always waiting for the rich to protect themselves and the weak to disappear. My pulse pounded so hard I could barely hear anything else. Olivia held up the draft article like a weapon. Choose carefully, she said again, smooth and cruel. Her or everything you built. Alexander did not look at the screen. He did not look at the reporters. He looked at me. Straight at me. And something in his face changed. Not colder. Not harder. Clearer. Put the phone down, Olivia, he said. Calm. Final. She smiled like she still thought she could win. You know what happens if I do not. It took one step forward. Control. Un second. Yes, he said. You embarrass yourself in public one last time. My breath caught. The room shifted. Olivia's smile faltered. Just enough. Do not be stupid, she snapped. If you choose her now, you lose board support, your family's approval, half your investor base, then they can leave too. The words hit the air like thunder. My whole body went still. It did not stop. Emily was never the scandal, he said, voice carrying now, sharp enough for every phone in the room to catch. The scandal was how many people thought they could use her because they assumed I would let them. My chest tightened painfully. Reporters moved closer. He could feel the moment changing shape around us. Olivia stared at him, stunned. You would throw everything away for her? He answered without looking at her. I already did. The words landed somewhere deep. Somewhere dangerous. Because this was not a contract anymore. Not a performance. Not control. This was a choice. Public. Irreversible. His gaze found mine again, and for the first time, there was no wall left in it. She is the only choice I am making, he said. My breath shook, coming nothing in me was ready for how much that meant. And the worst part was realizing this was the moment I had wanted all along. The problem was this. Now that he had finally chosen me in public, I had no idea if my heart was brave enough to believe. In private. The public choice should have fixed everything. But healing is harder when your heart remembers every time it broke. After the reporters scattered and Olivia finally lost her smile, Alexander led me out through a side exit. It did not touch me. That mattered. It stayed close enough to protect me. Far enough to let me breathe. The car ride was silent. Heavy. Real. When we reached my apartment, I turned to get out, but his voice stopped me. Emily. Just my name. Nothing else. He looked at him. Really looked. He looked exhausted. Not palist. Not untouchable. Just tired. Woman. Why now? He asked quietly. Why say all of that now? It held my gaze for a long second. Because I ran out of ways to lie to myself. The words landed hard. Honest in a way I was not ready for. He crossed my arms, not for attitude. For armor. You did not just lie to yourself, I said. You let me feel small. Replaceable. Both. His jaw tightened, but he did not defend himself. I know. Silence stretched. Then he added, lower, I thought if I kept everything controlled, I would not have to need anything I could lose. My chest tightened. There it was. They wound under the control. And what am I to you now? He asked. My voice shook on the last word. He stepped closer. Slow. Careful. No pressure. The one person I should have been honest with from the beginning. My breath caught. Dangerous answer. Not enough to erase the past. Enough to crack me open anyway. He looked down, then back at him. I do not know how to trust you all at once. He nodded immediately. Then do not. That made me still. I am not asking for all of it tonight, he said. Just the chance to stop being the man who broke it. The air between us softened. Not killed. Not safe. But softer. My heart ached in a different way now. Less like damage. More like possibility. He reached for the door handle, then paused. Alexander, he went still. Waiting. He looked at him one last time. You finally told the truth. My pulse jumped. Now I need to decide whether that changes everything, or if it changes nothing at all. The hardest part of loving him was not the fear that he would hit me again. It was the fear that I would still choose him anyway. He did not sleep much that night. He lay awake replaying every version of us. The contract. The silence. The way he claimed me when he had no right to. The way he chose me when it finally cost him something real. By morning, my chest felt bruised by memory. He went to the hospital to see my mom, hoping normal would steady me. It did not. She looked at me once and knew. You love him, she said gently. No judgment. Just truth. He looked away. That is not the problem. She smiled sadly. No. The problem is that he finally loves you back, and now you have to decide if that is enough. The words landed exactly where I had been avoiding. Not whether I loved him. He already knew that answer. The real question was whether love without trust was just another trap. When I left the hospital, the sky was turning gold. Quiet. Still. My phone buzzed once. One message. Not demanding. Not cold. I am at the place where this began. No pressure. Just honesty, if you want it. My breath caught. The place where this began. The law office. Of course. He stood in the parking lot staring at the screen like it might choose for me. Part of me wanted to delete it. Protect myself. Keep the version of my life I had rebuilt with shaking hands. The other part, the dangerous part, wanted to see what honesty looked like from a man who had hidden behind control for too long. He got in my car before I could talk myself out of it. The drive felt shorter than it should have. My pulse climbed with every turn. When I pulled into the lot, his car was already there. So was he. Standing by the entrance. No wall. No armor. Just Alexander, waiting. He shut off the engine, but I did not move. Because this was it. Not the contract. Not the scandal. Not the chase. The choice. And as I wrapped my fingers around the door handle, one thought hit me harder than fear ever had. If I walked toward him now, I would not be going back to the old story. He would be choosing the next one. He opened the car door and stepped into the same place where this whole mess had started. The law office looked exactly the same. Clean lines. Glass walls. Controlled air. But I was not the same woman who had signed that contract with shaking hands and a broken kind of desperation. Alexander stood by the entrance, watching me like this was the only thing in the world he could not control. You came, he said quietly. He stopped a few feet away. My heart was racing, but it was no longer from fear alone. You asked for honesty, I said. So here it is. He loved you long before I trusted you. That was my mistake. The words landed between us, sharp and real. It took that in without flinching. And I wanted you long before I knew how to love you right, he said. That was mine. Silence followed. Not heavy this time. Honest. He reached into his coat and pulled out a folder. The original contract. He held it out, then tore it clean in half. Then again. The sound hit me harder than I expected. Final. No deal, he said, letting the pieces fall into the trash beside him. No leverage. No conditions. Just me. My throat tightened. And if I say no? He asked. He looked straight at me. No wall. No shield. Then I lose you honestly, he said. But I will never again make you question what you meant to me. Something inside me finally gave way. Not from weakness. From relief. From being chosen without being bought. He stepped closer. Slow. Certain. You hurt me, I said, because I needed him to hear it one last time. He nodded once. I know. He took another step. And I am still scared. His voice softened. Then I will be patient. That was it. Not a promise to control the future. Just a promise to meet me inside it. He exhaled, and for the first time, the ache in my chest did not feel like damage. It felt like release. Then here is my honesty, I whispered. His whole body went still. I held his gaze and let the truth land clean. I am not choosing the contract. I am not choosing the version of you who hid behind it. I am choosing the man who tore it apart. His breath caught. Mine did too. Then I closed the last distance between us and let myself believe what I had wanted from the beginning. I am choosing you, Alexander. The look on his face undid me more than any grand gesture ever could. It touched my hand first, careful, like even now he was asking. He laced my fingers through his before he could doubt it. My wife, he said softly. And this time it was not a claim. It was wonder. He smiled through the sting behind my eyes. Only if you finally mean husband. A real smile broke through him. Rare. Ern. Ido. And just like that, the thing that began as a signature ended as a choice. Not perfect. Not easy. But real. And when he pulled me gently into his arms, I did not feel trapped. He felt home.